Take the field for Kelly Barnhill inside the circle, and she was a part of the Gators turning the tide after losing the first two games in the series against Tennessee. In the series finale, Francesca, what a performance from Kelly Barnhill at 13 strikeouts.
I think that was the exact response that Kelly needed after her previous outing against Tennessee Friday night, giving up those 3 home runs, getting run rolled for the first time at Katie Cecil Presley Stadium. So that game against Tennessee, she was looking for redemption, but she was also trying to keep gaining her confidence and making sure that she doesn't give up those big mistakes after a big hit.
There you take a look at Kelly's numbers this year. 13 starts, 75 2/3 innings pitched, a sparkling 1.30 ERA. We mentioned that Lorenz is set to break some program records. Barnhill, the same thing. She's on pace to set records in ERA and opponent batting average in Gator program history. We'll take on a tough UCF lineup. They come in at 17-8. This is their first true road game of the year. Take a look at their starting 9. Denali Shotpacker will lead off. Tamisha Glover and Cassidy Brewer are all due up in this first inning. And they're under a first-year head coach as well, are the UCF Knights, so it should be a lot of fun. Again, the Knights won this meeting last year 1-0 in Orlando. First pitch is in for a strike, and we are underway. I mentioned the weather is outstanding. About 78 degrees at first pitch. Defense on both sides will have to battle with the sun early as we're in twilight hours right now. Just had daylight savings time. Shotpacker this year hitting .333. No homers and 4 runs driven in. Native of Bradenton, Florida. And some changes defensively for the Gators today as well. Yeah, Matthews making her first career start at third base. Lorenz at first base for a second straight game. Jade Caraway out and left. So some shuffling in that lineup for Coach Walton. Kelly just misses that outside corner. Here's Matthews at third. First collegiate start and played third base in travel ball, so it's not something that she hasn't done before, but in a Gator uniform, this is her first career start at the hot corner. Check swing flare into center field for a base hit, so UCF just like that with Denali Shotpacker. They have a leadoff base runner here in the first.
Shotpacker just getting her job done. She doesn't supply a lot of power. She's that lefty hitter that uses her hands to try to just make contact, and where the defense was playing her, she was able to get enough of that ball to fall in for that single.
Brings in Tamisha Glover, .353 start, 12 of her last 32. That's .375. Glover, team's leader in batting average, slugging percentage, on base percentage. It goes on and on. She's been a catalyst in the upper third of this UCF lineup. Corner's pinching in as Barnhill deals a strike.
UCF definitely looking to try to get on the board early with being able to get the leadoff batter on. Definitely look to see if she might steal second. You have Shotpacker already has stolen 9 bases this season.
Kelly's been used to fast starts in games, especially in that Tennessee series. Kelly, after she had that nightmare 4th inning in Game 1, she had 7 strikeouts of the first 3 innings in Game 1. And in Game 3 had an outstanding 13 strikeout performance. She was dominant from jump to finish in the series finale start. Maybe Coach Walton giving her the midweek start, trying to give her a little bit more confidence heading into a top 10 series. LSU on the road coming up.
I think that's exactly why she gets this start today, to try to help bring that confidence up. She can get herself rolling and then gives up that 1 hit and kind of gets her to shut down after that. So she already got that big win off of Tennessee on Sunday. And now let's keep that momentum rolling to gain that confidence as you head into LSU. You know, facing, again, another top 10 team.
2-2 to Glover. Just got a piece. And that's the thing about Kelly and her career as a Florida Gator is the intangibles, they're all there. It's just sometimes the mental aspect of the game. When one big thing happens for the opponent, it tends to avalanche at times for Kelly. Glover goes down on strikes. First K for Kelly. Now there's one away.
And this is a great response that Barnhill has. You see Glover was fighting every pitch that Barnhill was throwing, but being able to get the swing and miss with her curveball on the outside, excuse me, two-seam on an outside corner. That's a pitch she needs to start working more so players aren't always looking up for the rise ball.
Brings in Cassidy Brewer. Pops this up. Reynoso in the shadows for out number 2. So nice response from Barnhill after giving up that leadoff single. A strikeout and a pop out to short. And here's Jasmine Esparza to the plate for UCF. Knights coming off a tournament they played at South Florida, the USF Clearwater Invitational, went 4-1 in that tournament. They've had a tough schedule to this point. Most notably played Florida State, number 1 in the country, twice. Played them to a 1-run deficit in the first meeting. Wound up losing both games against the Seminoles.
They've been doing pretty well for themselves this season when you take a look at their schedule. You know, they beat Ohio State. They've played a lot of good teams very close. And it's really showing how this team is responding with the new coaching staff that was brought in this summer.
You saw Cindy Ball Malone, her first year as head coach. Renee Gillespie took the Iowa head coaching job. Ball Malone was the head coach for 4 seasons at Boise State. Was hired in June this past summer. Won the Mountain West in her final year at Boise State. Was the head coach there from 2015 to 2018. Had them in the postseason back-to-back years before she came here to UCF for the first time in program history. Runner takes off, throw down to second is in plenty of time. A good toss from Jordan Roberts ends the inning. Shot Packer is caught stealing, and the Gators get a nice defensive play to end the top half of the first. Mid-1, Gators coming up when we come back. Amanda Lorenz gets set to lead it off for the 7th-ranked Florida Gators here in this midweek clash. For UCF, they will throw their ace here today against the Gators. Aaliyah White will get the start, but before we get to that, the starting 9 for the Florida Gators. Lorenz and Lindemann, that was the key to that Tennessee series. That's where most of the Gators' success came on offense, was between Lorenz and Lindemann. It's been the rest of the order trying to join the party. But Lorenz, we mentioned in the open, that 3-for-3 series finale, had 2 home runs, both of them to the opposite field in left center. And she's had just an outstanding start, hitting .468 on the year. Take on Aaliyah White. Take a look at her numbers. 4-0, 26 innings pitched, and she is a workhorse for this team. She threw north of 260 innings last year for the Knights.
I mean, UCF really goes how Aaliyah White goes, and she doesn't have just one dominant pitch. She mixes it all between her drop, screw, rise, change, but because she has she's a spinny type of a pitcher, she's able to get hitters off balance often and kind of pull off pitches earlier to get outs.
White comes in first in the American in shutouts, strikeouts, and wins. She threw 266 2/3 innings last year.
It's always the hard thing when you have a pitcher that throws so many different types of pitches is you don't know where to look at. You don't know if you need to split the plate or hang back on a changeup, but you have to be ready to attack because you know she's going to come in with a strike.
Lorenz goes opposite field towards left. The park will hold it. Catch is made by Brooke Barlow. And there's one away. So a rare feat for an opponent retiring Lorenz. Now that brings in Kendall Lindemann. It's in a bit of a rut power-wise for this Gator team. She's been on base in now 25 straight games, but she was able to hit a home run on Sunday in Game 3 against Tennessee. Get the Gators on the board. That's after the Gators were shut out 3-0 on Saturday. And in that 3-0 loss, they only had a total of 3 hits. Lindemann does have a team best 8-game hit streak. We mentioned for Lindemann as well, she's reached now in 25 straight games. The only game she has not reached was the opener. We'll take a look back to that home run from Lindemann on Sunday.
Lindemann just has so much power. You can see her kind of stretching it out with her stride there. But she's a hitter that has a lot of power, but doesn't have a crazy swing with it. She's very quiet in the box.
And that hits Lindemann. Gators have a 1-out base runner. Brings in Danielle Romanello. Lindemann, 43 career home runs, 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. And now she's reached in 26 straight games with a hit by pitch.
My favorite thing is when you ask Lindemann, you know, what do you want pitchers to fear from you? And she says, I don't want them to fear my power. I want them to always know I'm a tough out. It's going to be hard to get me out. I want to battle pitchers and make them go deep.
And here's Romanello. Well, for the Gators, again, 1 and 2 in the order was not the issue. The rest of the team in the series was only 7 for 55 at the plate as Romanello gets hit by a pitch on the front arm. Now it's first and second with 1 out. Well, this is the last thing that you can afford if you're UCF, just gift wrapping base runners. Take a look at those numbers we mentioned, the splits between Lorenz and Lindemann and the rest of the team. Lorenz and Lindemann north of 500 with 3 home runs and 7 runs driven in. The rest of the team 7 for 51.
I mean, if you're Coach Walton and you're looking at that number, 7 for 51, you know you have to work on your offense from the rest of the lineups. You just can't depend on those 2 top hitters every time.
And we talked about it a little bit over the weekend. And being a great hitter yourself, and you always go through the ebbs and flows, right? You're a Hall of Famer if you're successful 30% of the time at the plate in the major league. So is it a matter of maybe more reps or just kind of stepping back and taking a deep breath? You as a hitter, when you went through your struggles, what were some of the things that you did?
I think every player is different in that sense of what they need to do to get themselves out of a rut. I was someone who was rep heavy, and tried not to think as much because I'd get in my head a lot. And that can be a case a lot of the times when you're expected to succeed and you're not, you start putting pressure on yourself. But sometimes that pressure is good because you need to try to rise up, and it can only take 1 hit to really break you out of a slump.
Here's Roberts, flares this foul. Take a look at Roberts at the plate. 6 of her last 25, a part of some of the struggles in this lineup. Has reached in the last 4 games. Was 1 for 6 in that Tennessee series. Gets the catching duties tonight. Caught 2 of the games in the Vol series.
One thing that's always a strength for Florida is that when they aren't hitting the ball that well, when they aren't able to see that ball and get some hits, is that they always have good eyes. They're always able to see a lot of pitches and get their walks in when they need to get on base.
And how about Roberts' situation, too? Because Lindemann comes in, highly acclaimed catcher, and Roberts is a catcher, and that kind of brings out the competition in the player. And I'm sure Roberts and Lindemann, she said in the preseason, are essentially best of friends. I mean, they're around each other all the time, but competition, that kind of breeds success, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. But the thing that the Gators tout so much about who they are as their identity this season is that they have such great team chemistry, and they work so well together as a unit. So even if, Jordan Roberts doesn't get the start, she's pumped that Lindemann gets the start. And they work so well as a tandem in that sense because whoever is not catching tends to be the DP.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah White is in whole heaps of trouble right now here in the first. Bases are now loaded for Hannah Adams. And this is after Aaliyah White got Lorenz to line out to left field to begin the inning. This has been kind of the big bugaboo for this Florida team, right? It's driving in runners in scoring position this year. Have a prime opportunity with the bases loaded.
I mean, this is something that they have been working on in practice since Sunday. Is when they're hitting, it's mindful hitting with runners in scoring position. What is your approach with 2 strike? What are you going to do if you have 1 strike? But we have to make sure that we're having productive practices right now to make the shift.
Adams lines this just foul. This was a similar spot that Florida had in game 1 against Tennessee. Had the bases loaded in the first inning right away. We're only able to manufacture 1 run on a bases loaded walk from Jordan Matthews, but we're not able to get that big swing, and that was the difference between the first 2 games and the game on Sunday. Meanwhile, on the flip side for Aaliyah White and UCF, if they can get out of this unscathed, this would go a long way for their confidence in this game on the road.
We see White early on just trying to be a little bit too perfect with planting her screw and her curveball, which hit both of the batters, and then falls behind Roberts to get that walk. But being able to respond well by getting 2 strikes early on Adams.
Adams, ground ball, back up the middle into center field as Lindemann scores. Romanello gets the red light at third, RBI single for the sophomore Hannah Adams, and the Gators have a 1-0 lead.
And that's exactly the type of hit that the Gators needed to get on the board. Not a big swing, nothing fancy, but just being able to pepper the ball right back up the middle.
Adams, her 16th RBI of the year. First hit for the Gators tonight. Now brings in Jordan Matthews. Matthews, for her confidence, could use a big swing in this moment. She's 0 for her last 16 at the plate. She's had 10 strikeouts during that stretch. Last hit came on February 23rd against Syracuse. This time a little off speed from White.
And she's someone that has been, in and out of the lineup early on in the season. So she's really trying to figure out, how do I get out of this sophomore slump? How do I swing myself out of it?
Matthews strikes out on a heavy swing and a big K for White. There's now 2 away.
Great job by Aaliyah White here, getting ahead of Matthews early with her off speed and then being able to paint the outside corner with that screwball that is running away from Matthews. You can see that she is well behind and basically swung when the ball was in the catcher Brewer's mitt.
So base is still loaded. Here is Jade Caraway seeing her 2nd straight start, the NC State transfer. Had a couple of big infield base hits on Sunday that both led to Lorenz home runs. Both with 2 outs, keeping the inning alive, turning the lineup over.
There's so many times people think that 9-hole hitter, isn't as important as the leadoff hitter. But Jade Caraway's 9-hole, being in the 9-hole and being able to turn that lineup over has been a huge catalyst. Because just like you said, being able to get Lorenz back up to the plate when they have runners in scoring position.
Caraway lines this to third, snared by Glover, and that ends the inning. So Caraway again hits it hard, and the Gators leave them loaded. And through 1 lone run producing hit from Hannah Adams, Florida has a 1-0 lead. Some hijinks going on in the outfield. A couple of young Gator fans getting a high five Albert as well. Having some fun in this midweek clash between Florida and UCF. Meanwhile, Barnhill faced the minimum in that top half of the first inning. Did pick up 1 strikeout. The inning ended after Roberts threw out Shotpacker on the base paths for a caught stealing. So Jasmine Esparza, who was up at the plate, gets another opportunity here in this second. I mentioned this UCF team coming off that Clearwater tournament, and they're 4-1, had wins over Seton Hall, St. Joe's, Chattanooga, St. John's. Like we said, they really tested themselves in the non-conference. They got a chance to play number 5 Washington, number 25 Mississippi State. They did have one win against a ranked opponent. That was 24th ranked Ohio State.
Well, having to respond after having a completely new coaching staff was huge for them. You know, they really had to adapt to handling the new staff, a new hitting style, a new defensive style. So being able to face that adversity early on has helped them in the season.
Second K for Kelly. Spars it down on strikes. There's one away.
Here you see Kelly starting to elevate her rise ball a little bit more in this second inning. She was getting a lot of swings and misses with her screwball and her fastball, but now going up the ladder and snapping with that rise.
Now 974 career strikeouts for Barnhill. The all-time leader, Stacy Nelson, 1,116.
It's a lot of strikeouts.
That is a lot. So you have to think Kelly will at least get to 1,000.
No doubt she'll be the new record holder.
This one is high and into Carissa Ornelas, UCF designated player. Barnhill comes in, most strikeouts in the nation, second in wins nationally. And especially with no Alicia Ocasio this year, they needed Barnhill to play an even bigger role, because right now that second part of the rotation is still up for grabs in a way, and they need Barnhill to be even better than spectacular this year.
You know, and I feel like that plays a lot into the pressure that she puts on herself. Early on in her career, she really was, you know, the 2-1 pitcher with such a big pitching staff that they had with, you know, Delaney Gorley, Lily Ocasio. And then really in the last 2 years is when she's had to step up and be that huge number 1 for them.
Barnhill had an outstanding sophomore year, had a .51 ERA that year. Just misses 3-2. When you look at the sophomore season she had, she was 26-4, .51 ERA, 17 complete games, 193 2/3 innings pitched. That was the year that she certainly arrived, her sophomore campaign. Flown towards left center field. Voss has a beat on it. 2 outs. Take a look at the career breakdown for the senior Kelly Barnhill. And you look at that sophomore season, that outstanding ERA, and the home run totals as well. That was the issue last year, 21 given up in her junior campaign.
Well, you can see the amount of games, too, that she was asked to start in 2017 and 2018 was a big load, a big chunk of that load. And, you know, last year she battled with the walk. She battled with having to face those illegal pitches.
As Aubrey Johnson singles back up the middle, second hit for UCF.
So she's been working on a lot in the offseason to try to, you know, continue to work her craft. But at the end of the day, she has the stuff, and now it's just trying to be stronger mentally.
Now brings in Brooke Barlow. And you mentioned the illegal pitches. That was a big issue last year because the rules are different between the international game and the collegiate game. And Kelly certainly had to adjust to that last year. And this year, I'd said that she comes in with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. Not on the Team USA roster for this year, but still has hopes for the Olympics in 2020. So she's certainly playing again with that chip on her shoulder this year, that underdog role.
But at the same time, it's something that she's trying not to focus on. It was great for her not to have to play this summer because she could focus on just college softball, and she could focus on the Gators and how she can finish out her career with a national championship. It's something, it's crazy to think that someone like Kelly Barnhill wouldn't have one. And I believe that's the exact mindset that she has to have. And, you know, you can't think about Team USA right now. You have to think about what's in front of you, and that is winning a national championship.
Barlow takes off the plate. It's now 3-1. UCF had won this matchup last year. 1-0 victory. Gators were 1 hit in that game. That's high and tight. Ball 4. First free pass offered up from Barnhill, and for the Knights, their third base runner. They have 2 on with 2 out.
Love the patience that Brooke Barlow just showed. It's easy to try to get swing happy when you see those rise balls, but understanding to keep things small allowed her to get that walk.
And you saw pitching coach Mike Bosch and Coach Walton. Here's Kira Clarkowski, who steps in against Barnhill with 2 outs. Clarkowski, one of 2 captains on this team. The other, Aaliyah White. Head coach Sydney Ball Malone said that Clarkowski really took that leadership role into her own this offseason. Last year, Clarkowski, a .240 hitter. Recently has dipped below 200 on the average, hitting .191.
This group has really enjoyed learning the game through the new coach, Cindy Ball. They feel like they're learning the game all over again, learning new things, and just developing their skills.
Popped up. Does this stay in play? Lorenz over. Goes into that netting. We saw her make an outstanding play in left field over the weekend against Tennessee, where she crashed into that netting in foul ground down the left field line. Was able to make the grab.
Especially the netting closer in the infield. It has a lot of give. You kind of have to bear claw to make sure you don't fall into it.
Clarkowski foul tips into the glove, and Kelly works out of any further trouble. 2 Ks in the inning, and UCF strands 2. We're mid-2. Gators lead by 1. Take a look at the SEC right now within the top 25 in the country. For the SEC, 5 teams within the top 10, 9 in the top 25. It is set to be another outstanding year in the SEC.
Always a tough conference to play in, but my favorite, Alabama, number 4. Man, do they have some power this year.
Yeah.
And then being able to have a freshman pitcher come in and be able to shut down some offenses. They're a team that, honestly, as of late, hasn't been as dominant as we're used to seeing them. So being able to see them back in the top 5 is really great for their program.
Tennessee moving up a few spots after taking 2 out of 3 here in Gainesville, as Reynoso leads off. We saw last year every team in the SEC make a regional. That's the type of conference it is. That thought that anybody can beat anybody in any given weekend.
I know, it's like the example of every SEC matchup is like a super regional matchup. There's so many emotions that go in it, so you're not even talking about the physicality, but the mental aspect as well. You see the same pitchers over and over again. You try to make the adjustments, but just like you're making adjustments as a hitter, those pitchers are making it too. So there's just so much that goes into those series that when the SEC play is finally done, you kind of sigh relief.
Reynoso airs it out towards right center, battling the sun, and that drops in. Reynoso has a hit. And we just showed you that the shot beyond the right field fence. The sun is vicious right now in the twilight hours. Denali Shotpacker just couldn't see it. Dropped it for a hit.
You know, you said it earlier in the broadcast, and it's always the right fielder that suffers the most from this sunshine view. You honestly need sunglasses and a visor because it's right there in your face blinding you.
Doesn't have the sunglasses. Still trying to shade her eyes right now. Center fielder as well, no sunglasses, being baked in the sun. As Voss lays down a bunt, that'll move the runner over. No play. Voss showcases the speed, 2 on and nobody out. And this is what Coach Walton wanted to see from the lower third of this order that he was not getting, is just getting on base and turning that lineup over.
and being really able to create some type of spark plug for that and feeding off of each other. You know, you have Reynoso get that single and then a quick lay down the bunt, use your speed to get on first base to bring up your biggest hitter in the lineup with Amanda Lorenz.
We just mentioned that shot packer in right field was battling that sun. She had some sunglasses that were jogged out to her in right. Right now it brings in Amanda Lorenz, who lined out to left in her first AB. Hitting .462 this year, reigning SEC Player of the Year. When you talk about one of the best swings in the country, you mentioned Amanda Lorenz. SEC's leader in hits. Lorenz, a little jam shot to second base. Manuel's there for the out. That is a gigantic out for Aaliyah White.
Huge out, being able to get Lorenz out. And it's not very often that Amanda can get out, as we say, but when she does, it's because she tends to be so handsy and tries to push and force a lot of things. And that's exactly what she just did. Got jammed and gets the pop-up.
Now it brings in Kendall Lindemann. So Lorenz, an 0 for 2 start to her night. Lindemann was hit by a pitch in the first, extended that reach base streak to 26 straight. He's now in the 2 spot in the order for the 3rd straight game for Coach Walt. For the 6th time in the last 8. Mentioned Lindemann homered against Tennessee on Sunday. She went 10 games between home runs. Lindemann powers this towards right center again. Sun could be an issue, but it's Emmanuel, the second baseman, who makes the grab. And how about that? 8 and 9 reach for the Gators, and then the lethal 1-2 of Lorenz and Lindemann. They both pop out.
Isn't that always how it works, though? And it really does. That's just how the game could be sometimes. You can't always count on your 2 best hitters to get the hits in. You really need all 1 through 9 every single time.
Now that brings in Daniel Romanello here, an early big spot for the Gators. Throw down to second. Reynoso got back.
I mean, but it also just, you know, shows the tenacity in the fight that Aaliyah White has in the circle. You don't just get Lorenz out to get jammed, but then you get Kendall Lindemann to get jammed as well. Not just hard outs, but easy outs.
Last year, Aaliyah White in that start against the Gators was a 1-0 Knights win. She went the full 7 innings, allowed only 1 hit, 5 walks to 1 strikeout through 113 pitches. She's thrown a no-hitter this year. It's her first career no-hitter against Coastal Carolina. On the heels of just picking up another American Conference Pitcher of the Week award, was the 6th in her career, her 2nd this year. This is pounded towards short, and they go the short way for the final out of the inning. So the Gators have the first 2 on and leave 2 as we are through to Aaliyah White out of a jam. Gators have a 1-0 lead. Take a look at the sun, twilight hours here in Gainesville, Florida. Outfielders having to deal with the shadows right now. Take a look at Romanello, just lifted up the glove right there, but also with the raised press box as well. Romanello has the sunglasses. You have the shadows that creep out a little bit sooner in games, forcing these outfielders to have to deal with that vicious sun. Voss electing to have the sunglasses but not use them. Were you a player that did that? Put them on the visor and just kind of keep them there just in case?
No, if I used them, I had them on.
You had them on?
Yeah. Coach Walton used to always make me wear M-frames, like the big old baseball ones, because when I first got moved to the outfield, I said no way I would ever wear them because they're ugly.
How about eye black? Was that ever a thing for you?
It was more just like to try to rally our team together, not because we actually used it.
Emmanuel pushes a bunt. That's foul, first base side.
I don't really feel that there are a lot of people who actually use the eye black because they need it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just more the look.
Exactly. It's the look how tough I am.
Yeah. especially when you start to sweat and it starts to trickle down.
And it's like, let me smear it all the way down to my chin, because that's very tough.
Here's Aaron Emanuel. Got the eye black going. I used to wear the flip glasses back in Little League because I thought I was cool. That was kind of the look. Never actually used them, though. Just would have them on.
It's really always about the style.
Right.
You know? I love Kirstie Merritt. She wears the white, like the white clear specs. She just looks so cool with those on. I could never pull those off, but someone like Kirstie Merritt can.
Certain players can pull off the look.
Yes.
Kelly in search of her 4th strikeout. UCF was able to manufacture a pair of base runners in that 2nd inning. A single and a walk from 6 and 7 in their lineup. This is popped up. Does Roberts have a play? Will land foul.
I mean, so far this UCF lineup hasn't looked completely defeated off of Kelly. They're taking her deep. They're being able to work at bats, and they're getting they're striking out only 3 times, but being able to get on base with a walk, a couple singles, and trying to manipulate some hits off of Kelly's. They're looking pretty good early on in this game.
Not the same high volume of swings and misses we're used to as Emanuel pounces towards center field, but playable for Voss in front of the track. No glasses that time for Voss. Still makes the play, battling that sun. There's 1 out. And by taking it deep, you mean taking it deep into the count, right, for these batters throughout the lineup?
Yes, of course, yeah. Making sure that they are fouling off a lot of pitches and then being able to see a lot of balls and not swinging at it.
7 of the 9 batters for UCF have seen at least 5 pitches in their at-bat. Here's Danelli Shotpacker back to the top of the Knights order. Last year, Shotpacker led the team in batting average and hits, has one of the strongest arms in the outfield in the American Conference. She gets plunked right on the back, and that cannot feel good.
You could see the reaction from Barnhill's face after she let that pitch go, that she did not have a good grip on it. It wasn't even close, just pegged Shotpacker right in the middle of her back.
Talking about a pitcher you do not want to get plunked by, right on the 5 on the back of the jersey.
And you just have to hope it wasn't her two-seam fastball, or hopefully it was the rise ball that's a little bit slower than her 70-mile-per-hour fastball.
So Shotpacker is on for the 2nd time. She was caught stealing in the 1st. Here's Tamisha Glover. UCF has been aggressive on the base paths this year. They have 31 stolen bases in 40 attempts.
This UCF team is just athletic all around. And they're athletic whether you are starting in the lineup or you're on the bench. Coach Cindy Ball has so many different tools that she can pull from because they're so diverse. So if you're going up against a power pitcher, let's use speed to try to win against them.
Glover trying to lay one down. Barnhill, overhand toss towards first. They'll say the out is recorded as Adams was covering. That's been an issue for Barnhill in her career, that overhand toss off the bunt to first base. But it was there in time for the out.
And Kelly had to work quickly to get out of the circle. This bunt was batted to her quickly, and being able to attack to her left, she made a pretty good throw, but thankfully Hannah Adams, athletic over there at second, able to pull it back in.
It's a tight window on that throw for Adams. Now it brings in Cassidy Brewer. 1-4 on the out at first base. Brewers 9 for her last 22. That's north of 420. She's been big in the department of extra base hits, this UCF team coming in. They've had 38 doubles. They had 52 all of last year. Brewer has a team lead in doubles. She's first in the American in 2-baggers. She has 9 this year.
Yeah, this really speaks volumes of what this new coaching staff has been able to do. They said, you know, the first thing that they focused on was trying to create a new culture, a winning culture, and showing them what championship teams do, what they look like when they're practicing, what they look like off the field. And that was a big hurdle for them to first face.
Lifted towards left. Easy play for Caraway. And that ends the inning, and the Knights leave a runner stranded in scoring position. So Kelly Barnhill works out of any further trouble. Mid-3 here in Gainesville, Florida, coming to the plate. There's Grant Holloway, just coming off winning a national championship in the National Indoor Championships. One of the greatest track and field athletes ever. Here inside the ballpark, taking in some Gators softball. So just coming off that national championship. Again, when you look at all the programs here at the University of Florida and all the success that's been had, you have some athletes come and kind of take in some other sports as well. And you see Holloway cheering on the Gators softball team here tonight. There's Jordan Roberts to lead it off. Roberts grounds this through the left side for a base hit. A leadoff base runner that will now bring in Hannah Adams.
Big swing for Roberts. You can kind of tell she was going to hit this because she committed to this pitch early, and it's a good thing that she did because it looked like it was going to be a drop ball. So being able to get her barrel out in front before it dropped off the table, Roberts being able to commit early gets her that single.
Lily Mann will pinch run at first base. When you talk about one of the more powerful swings in this lineup, you have to mention Jordan Roberts.
I know Roberts just has so much power in her swing, and we haven't really seen it showcased much because she's been kind of going, as she says, through a little funk and still trying to figure out her swing and find that right rhythm. She tends to get a little bit too handsy, has her hands kind of float out with her, but right there she was able to get it back and get the hit.
So here is Hannah Adams, lays down a bunt, almost caught by Cassidy Brewer on a dive.
See Hannah Adams squaring bunt, and you see her barrel drops just slightly because the pitch is moving upwards, and a great effort by the catcher Brewer almost got that out.
Sydney Ball Malone has said that she's one of the more athletic catchers in the American Conference. One of the best catchers in UCF program history. This gets away a bit from Brewer, but man stays put at first. Hannah Adams had the lone run scoring hit in this game. Gators had the bases loaded in the first. Was able to sneak a single into center field. Bring in Kendall Lindemann. There you take a look at Adams' numbers in her sophomore season. She's been kind of moved all around this lineup. We saw Adams in the Tennessee series hitting third. Now dropped down to fifth. We've seen her at times at sixth in the order.
Adams is someone that does a lot in her swing. She doesn't necessarily hit for power, but she can find the gaps. She has good speed, but not enough speed to really be that leadoff hitter. She's not a slapper, but she can put the bunt down. So really trying to find where she fits into the lineup has been a puzzle piece for Coach Wallen.
Leads the team in sacrifices this year. Sends it in the air towards left center. There's Barlow to make the grab. Say it for Aaliyah White so far in this start. She's had that nice ability to bounce back quickly inside the circle. Now that brings in Jordan Matthews. Matthews struck out in the first inning. Ferocious swing that time for Matthews. And still searching at the plate right now for the sophomore. When hitless in the Tennessee series.
I mean, the biggest thing for Jordan Matthews right now is just trying to find her confidence. And it doesn't have to be a big hit. It doesn't have to be a home run. You know, maybe she just gets a little single, like an excuse me single, but something just to try to make her feel more comfortable in the box so then she can start seeing pitches better and swinging at strikes.
Runner takes off, throw down to second. Man is gunned down. Say that. I believe there is interference on Emmanuel, the second baseman, so the throw is there in plenty of time, but man will have the bag.
Exactly. That's exactly what he called was interference. Just like you said, that ball got there very quickly, but you see the shortstop, Aubrey Johnson, is really blocking the base path. Really not too much, but from where the umpire is standing, it does look like she has her left knee in front of the bag.
Sydney Ball Malone is upset. You can understand why. Take a look at that left knee, Francesca. Maybe that's what could bring out an argument.
Yeah, I think that is what he's seen. From that angle, it definitely looks like Johnson's leg is in front of the bag. That's a tough call to make, but from his view, he thinks it's the right one.
So maybe the Gators catching a bit of a break here in this third inning. It's a part of conversation too in the regular season is, do you have replay? And that's part of maybe a call like that maybe gets overturned, and certainly you'd have to start with that in the World Series. That's a big part of the conversation, but right now still no replay in softball.
I think they're going to be testing it out in the SEC tournament this year.
Matthews bounces this back up the middle. Johnson fields, has no play. So it was bounced into no man's land inside the infield. Now the Gators have runners at first and third.
And that could be the hit that Matthews needs to kind of get her out of her funk. She's still out in front of this pitch, but still gets enough of the ball to bounce it over the pitcher White's head. And because the infield is playing so far back, it's an easy single.
Here's Jade Caraway. Was robbed of a base hit in the first, lined out sharply to Tamisha Glover at third. Almost got away. Take a look at Caraway, one of two transfers on this Florida roster. 2017 was all ACC second team, was on the all ACC freshman team that year. Certainly a plus defender in the outfield. Had a big moment out west in the Judy Garman Classic. Drove in the game-winning run in a 1-0 win, a walk-off double against New Mexico in the bottom of the eighth. Also robbed a home run in center field against a ranked Oregon team on that trip. Was a viral clip online. Right now for Aaliyah White, get another big spot in this game. Try to keep this a 1-0 game. Gators have stranded 5 through the first 2 innings. That was the big issue in the Tennessee series. The Gators had stranded 12 on base in the first 2 games. They had no issue with getting base runners. It was knocking them in.
And they just continuously struggle to find that big hit. you know, every single one of their numbers has been called. They've all been coming on base with runners in scoring position, but no one's been able to really crack it open. Obviously, you've seen Lorenz do it multiple times, but it needs to be somebody else in this Gator lineup if they're going to continue to try, you know, to win the SEC, to figure out who the lineup's going to be at the same time.
Caraway lines this towards center field, drops down for a base hit that will bring in a run. RBI single for Jade Caraway, and the Gators take a 2-0 lead.
Jade Caraway really stepping up when her number is getting called yet again. She's able to use a power slap, very quiet with her feet, but gets her hands on plane. And because of where the center fielder is shifted over for a soft slapper, this is easily able to get into the gap and to score a run. Hats off to the center fielder, Klaukowski, to cut that ball off and not letting Jordan Matthews get to third.
Gators' third hit with runners in scoring position. And it will continue to earn Jade Caraway more at-bats in this lineup right now, as again, Coach Walton is still searching for that remedy 1 through 9, and Caraway has certainly earned her spot.
You know, no doubt. And, you know, we say it's not just about trying to get on base when there's nobody on or trying to be that kickstart for that leadoff hitter, but really coming up clutch when your team needs it and when it's something the team's been struggling on. Caraway has been able to step up in that sense.
Gators already 6 hits. And again, that production coming from somebody not named Lorenz and Lindemann in this order.
I mean, still at the same time, Aaliyah White, that was not a terrible pitch that she threw. Caraway was able to get her hands up on that pitch. Probably just a little bit too sweet on the upper part of that zone, but not terrible.
Meanwhile, Reynoso 1 for 1 tonight. 4 of her last 20 at the plate. She's been scuffling a bit offensively. Back to the lower third in the order. Doesn't reach for that one outside. Bases loaded for the second time in this game for the orange and blue. Here's Alex Voss.
That's a tough pitch not to swing on. Aaliyah White just missed that ball in the outside corner, but Gators, they know their strike zone. They don't usually swing at balls. And now you see the 9-hole hitter up with bases loaded.
Gators set the NCAA record last year for team walks, 360 as a unit. Here's Voss, who has 10 driven in this year. She snapped a 0 for 19 skid on Sunday. Now that prompts an early meeting as Sydney Ball-Malone will come out and talk to Aaliyah White. Mentioned that the transition for the Knights this year at the coaching position. Sydney Ball-Malone, former pitcher at Pacific, 99 to 2002, two-time All-American, was the Big West Pitcher of the Year, was also a part of Heather Tarr's staff at Washington. And Sydney Ball-Malone and Tim Walton will be on the same coaching staff for the U19 Team USA team coming up.
You know, she brings a lot of experience, and she knows what it takes to coach championship teams, to be around it. She coached up All-American Caitlin Inglesby that was at Washington. So I think this is going to be a really great turning period for this program at UCF, and I'm excited to see where they grow and thrive under her tutelage.
That hits Alex Voss, a painful RBI. Plates Jordan Matthews, and Florida now has a 3-0 lead. So after the meeting, White plunks Voss. Now the Gators extend their lead to 3 with 2 across in this inning and still searching for more of the nation's best coming to the plate.
We could see the frustration from Aaliyah White there. Obviously not what she's trying to do, but sometimes as a pitcher, you can't be too careful. You have to at least challenge the hitter, and in that sense, clipping Voss gets in a run.
Well, here's Lorenz now, who's 0 for 2. And there's no choice in this moment with the bases loaded. There's no place to put Lorenz. You have to challenge her here in this third inning.
But still, if you're White, have yourself some confidence. You've got her out twice. The last time you got her jammed, the time before that lazy fly ball. So she's not going to go down easy as White.
Mention at the Open, Lorenz on pace to break records in batting average, on base percentage, reached every single game last year. Time White going outside corner. That gets past Brewer all the way to the backstop. Caraway sprints in, and a run will score. It's now second and third, and Florida has a 4-0 lead on a wild pitch.
And this is, again, White just trying to be too perfect, understanding that if she leaves this inside pitch anywhere over the middle of the plate, Lorenz is going to crush it. So she tries to overcorrect it, tries to get it in the river, but puts too much spin off it to where it tips off the catcher Brewer's glove.
Now the Gators set up second and third. The one out. This, you have to think, turning point in this game. Lorenz a chance to blow this wide open. Officially ruled a pass ball. And that misses, ball 4. So Lorenz, who's the career leader in walks at the University of Florida, picks up one more, the 195th in her career, and the bases loaded once again for Kendall Lindemann. Second free pass in this inning from White. And now Sydney Ball Malone makes some changes on that card. This could do it for White inside the circle. The new pitcher is hopping out towards the circle. Brianna Vasquez inherits the bases loaded with one out. So Aaliyah White, through the first 2 innings, was able to wiggle out of some trouble, but the Gators right now, they're looking to pile on here in this third.
And it's not like White pitched, terrible or was giving up a lot of big hits, but just struggling to find her strike zone when they had runners on, and hit too many batters and gave up a walk when she couldn't do that, when she had to bear down. So now bringing in Vasquez, you're going to have a pitcher who's going to have a lot of rise spin. She's going to try to go east and west early to set up that rise ball. So get ahead with the strike and then get them to swing and miss with that rise ball.
So this will be the 8th batter coming to the plate. Take a look at this inning for Aaliyah White. 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 hit by pitch. And again, those free passes will come back to bite you against this team. Now enter in Brianna Vasquez, 6-3 this year with a 1.38 ERA. This will be her 12th appearance. She's gone 55 2/3 innings this year for the Knights. Has been a solid number 2 behind Aaliyah White, the native of Norwalk, California. Had a streak this year of 39 1/3 innings pitched, where she only gave up 1 earned run. Comes in and tries to settle down this game with the bases loaded. And the second time tonight, the Gators have had 3 on. And here's Lindemann, who does have 1 grand slam this year, came on this field. Lindemann was hit by a pitch, also popped out to second. So a big assignment for Vasquez, the freshman.
I kind of liked right before Vasquez took the mound, you had the first baseman Esparza kind of pull her to the side, and they have a moment, junior to freshman, hey, this might be one of the biggest innings you face, but hey, we got you. Just trying to maybe relax her and remind her this isn't that big of a moment. You got this.
Well, misses the zone on the first 2 pitches. Well, when you have a long layoff, you have Kelly Barnhill trying to stay loose inside that bullpen over the left field fence. Barnhill has been stellar so far. Popped up. Spars is over. That will reach the seats. Approaching now about 20 minutes since Barnhill's last pitch.
And Barnhill's a rep type of a pitcher too. She will not want to go out on the field unless she feels good about everything. Like she still has her rhythm. Doesn't want to go in cold at all.
In the air towards right center. Klarkowski jogging in will make the grab. Reynoso tags from third. The throw, one hop. Tag applied. Reynoso on a second effort is tagged out. And that will end the inning. So a DP ends the inning. Reynoso on a second effort tried to get the edge of the plate but could not. And a big DP for UCF as we are through 3. Take a look at that play from Klarkowski. Line drive toss for the final out. We now slide to the top of the 4th inning. Beautiful evening turning in tonight here in Gainesville. Florida a 4-0 lead. Take a look at that final play. The double play, the throw from Klarkowski. Originally bobbles that transition. The throw to home plate was on target. Reynoso could not get there in time.
It almost looks like she was able to get around the tag initially, but you see the catcher Brewer just gets her on the calf, and just to be sure, she then tags her again on the hand. It's a great play by UCF there to get them out of that jam.
You see that a lot from Coach Walton coaching down that third base line. He's fairly aggressive in trying to send runners. And now for UCF, trying to get some runs back here in the 4th. Jasmine Esparza leads it off. Carissa Ornelas and then Aubrey Johnson due up against Barnhill. We mentioned was throwing some warm-up tosses in that bullpen. North of 20 minutes time between pitches. Barnhill so far 3 strikeouts, approaching 60 pitches in her start. So mentioned earlier, this Gator group getting set to gear up for a top 10 showdown against LSU on the road. That is a tough place to play in Baton Rouge.
Not only a tough atmosphere, but one of the biggest things that the Gators have been struggling with is their pitching and trying to shut down offenses. And LSU comes in with one of the most potent offenses out there when you have freshman Sunseri, who's been hitting home run after home run.
Esparza cuts and misses. She's down on strikes. So for Kelly, her 4th K. Now there's one away.
I love when we're able to see Kelly get these strikeouts with her 2-seam fastball, because you're always expecting her to get them on the rise ball, but then she's able to hum this 70-mile-per-hour fastball in and really surprise the batter.
Now 2 strikeouts tonight for Jasmine Esparza. Here's Carissa Ornelas, UCF DP. I mentioned earlier too that the sunlight and the shadows were an issue for the outfielders. That is gone now as the sun has peaked behind the Rays press box. Still is off in the distance, but everybody playing in the shadows.
I always feel a little bit better when that sun's not a factor anymore.
Yeah. Lazy pop fly. Caraway got a good jump. 2 outs. Kelly in search of her second inning where she'll face the minimum.
I was just going to say, when we talk about Kelly Barnhill trying to overcome one of her, her mental issues is trying to go with quick innings, being able to get quick outs, being able to face the minimum, and to not throw so many pitches, because that's when she gets in her head.
This inning for Barnhill, 8 pitches. Certainly has looked crisp after that long layoff. Aubrey Johnson at the plate. She singled in the second. One of 2 UCF hits. Kelly now in search of number 5.
I see her just being able to snap with that screwball. When we talk about her high velocity, it comes with that screwball at 70-72.
Foul tipped into the glove. 5th strikeout for Kelly Barnhill, who now is in command here in Gainesville. Gators in the driver's seat right now. Up 4, mid-4 in Gainesville. Now you take a look at the biggest celebrity on campus. Albert the Gator doing the chomp. Taking some pictures with some fans here on this outstanding night in Gainesville. Said it was around 78 degrees at first pitch. Good night for a ball game. Gators lead 4-0 as we head to the home 4th inning. Gators had a 3-run third. They sent 8 to the plate. Big UCF double play ended that inning. Now it's Danielle Romanello, 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Gators in this inning. Against Brianna Vasquez in relief of Aaliyah White. Maybe the final line for White. Only went 2 1/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of those earned, 3 walks to only 1 strikeout through 73 pitches. And White early in this game had the bases loaded, did give up that 1-run scoring hit against Hannah Adams, but was able to get a strikeout and a line out to third base, and she's pitching with a little bit of confidence after that first inning.
Yeah, it's not like she gave up a lot of big hits. It's not like she pitched terribly out there, but wasn't able to come up with the big strikes when she needed to. Tried to be a little bit too perfect, which, she hit in a run. She walked in a run. And those are the types of errors that she doesn't want to make mentally.
Here you take a look at Vasquez. Last time inside the circle, March 9th against Furman in that tournament at USF. Went 3 1/3 innings. Did see a start against Florida State this year. It's the one of 2 games they played against the number 1 team in the land in the Seminoles. It was a rough start for Vasquez in that start. Romanello takes ball 4. Gators have a leadoff base runner here in the 4th. Again, that's the one thing against this Gator team is you can't not throw strikes. And I know it's elementary to say, but this team continues to make the opposition pay because they will not chase as Sampson comes in to pinch run.
Yeah, they're not easily baitable, especially on borderline pitches. They tend to err on the side of not swinging, and that gets pitchers in a lot of trouble. It creates them to get frustrated to where they think they need to put the ball over the middle of the plate more, and then that gives up the big hit.
So now it's Jordan Roberts, who has singled and scored, also walked against Aaliyah White. Roberts has now reached in the last 5 games. Last year, Roberts was more of a role player for this team. Hit .280 Came off the bench in a lot of pinch hit opportunities last season. But now a firm staple in the starting lineup, whether at DP or behind the plate.
I think you see that a lot when it comes to the players that Coach Walton continues to bring into this program, is that a lot of the times as a freshman, you're not going to be a starter because you have veteran athletes out there that understand how he wants them to play and what it takes to win.
Heavy swing from Roberts. She's down on strikes. Big K for Vasquez. Now there's one away.
And Vasquez getting that strikeout with her bread and butter pitch, her rise ball. She likes to get ahead of batters so she can throw that pitch and get those swings and misses. Tight spin in that late jump.
Big strikeout for the freshman. Here's Hannah Adams. Adams had the scoreless tie-breaking hit as Sampson moves down to second base. See how they score that. Take a look at Albert.
It is a little chilly out there.
And we have a dog, too. It's cuteness overload here in this fourth inning. Look at those eyes.
Maggie the dog. I just want to snuggle with that dog right now.
And that's Maggie. That's Katie Cronister's dog. A little tired.
Just looking for the pets or popcorn.
Maybe a little hungry.
Maybe a little both.
Especially in the minor leagues, you have a lot of the Bark in the Park promotions where you have a lot of dogs at the ballpark. You see that at times in the big leagues as well.
You know, actually, speaking of going to LSU this weekend, they're always a ballpark that does a Bark in the Park.
Yep.
They have them go outside on the left field area.
Adams tried to lay one down.
I'm a big dog lover, so I would remember
Yeah.
a fact like that.
Oh, who isn't, right?
I don't know. Some people really like cats.
Yeah. Adams draws a walk, so Vasquez in some trouble here with one out, first and second. That'll bring in Jordan Matthews. Second free pass in this inning from Vasquez.
And again, Vasquez just a freshman, so this is the first time that she's facing the Gators and feeling how picky they are and not baiting at those close pitches. So she's going to have to make an adjustment. And if it's going to come, this would be a great time in the lineup. You know, you have Jordan Matthews, who just got her first single in the last 19 at-bats.
Matthews came into this game over last 16 at the plate. It was an infield single for Matthews, and sometimes that's all it takes. Matthews has seen the average dip 74 points since late February. He was on the SEC all-freshman team last year, hit 274. Ropes this deep towards right field. Shotpacker over, makes the catch. Sampson will tag towards third. No relay. Sampson is in. So a productive out for Matthews, who gave it a ride. First and third with two out.
And here's the thing with Jordan Matthews is if she's going to struggle at some point during this season, struggle right now. Because when they're going to need her the most is going to be at the end of this season, during postseason, when she wants to come up with those big hits.
And if you're going to get out, make it a productive out. And that's what Matthews did, moving Sampson over towards the doorstep for Jade Caraway. Let a run-scoring single in that three-run third inning. Now hitting 286. Has hit it sharply both times to the plate tonight.
So you're kind of smiling there because that pitch was right down the middle. That's not a pitch you really want to take, obviously, but still just getting her rhythm. This is the first time she's seen Vasquez.
Caraway, known for her patience at the plate, led NC State in walks her sophomore year. If you look over the right field fence, fire truck is back. They were here on Sunday against Tennessee. It's the round of applause you hear with the Florida flag. Saw them a lot come regional and super regional time. The fire truck would park right out there over the right field fence.
I love that. You know, I've always loved in these small college towns how there's just so much support for every single sport there. It's really a community.
Popped up. Now does the shortstop Johnson to make the catch. So the Gators will leave 2 here in this 4th inning. So Vasquez, after it's all set and done, throws up a 0. Florida leads by 4 through 4. Welcome back to Gainesville. Florida leads 4-0 here in the top of the 5th inning. So the Gators getting some offense. Got 1 run in that first, 3 runs in the 3rd inning. Some insurance for Kelly Barnhill, has picked up 5 strikeouts. Take a look at the 40 strikes thrown for Barnhill. 8 of those put into play. You have 12 swings and misses tonight for Kelly. But we didn't see the really high volume of swings and misses. 11 foul balls today from this UCF lineup.
They've had a really great approach when trying to hit off of Kelly. Just being able to battle all of her pitches, and they haven't swung too many times at her rise ball. When they've been getting her screwball or her fastball, they've been attacking, they've been swinging. Just haven't been able to really square too many things up, except for those 2 hits that they've had off of her.
Meanwhile, some defensive changes for the Gators. Haven Sampson, who pinch ran in the last inning, is now in left. Jade Caraway shifts from left to right. Brooke Barlow leads off the UCF 5th inning. It's a UCF team that comes in with some expectations within the American Conference. We're picked 5th. Some people thought that was a tad low for this UCF team. So their group, their expectations is to get to a regional. And the American Conference, they had 4 teams in the NCAA tournament last year, and possibility they could get 5 this season.
I think a big reason why they were kind of ranked that low is because they're kind of having this whole new identity of who they're going to be as a program. You have so much talent and so much athleticism, but trying to piece the puzzle pieces together has been tough for them. You know, we've said it before, I think bringing in this new coaching staff has almost been a breath of fresh air for the program, and seeing how they can succeed under their new tutelage. They have a lot of smart brains out there.
We mentioned that Sydney Ball Malone had taken over for Renee Gillespie, who went to take the head coaching job at Iowa. Gillespie started the program in 2002. They had the American Coaching Staff of the Year in 14-15. They had a really big year in 2015. They had 50 wins, led the nation in ERA. Broke down a line towards right, dropped down in front of Caraway for a base hit. For the Knights, their 3rd base hit. Another look at Maggie. Never get enough of Maggie.
Star of the show right there.
As his own cameraman. Her own cameraman.
I know, get it right.
Point laid down by Klarkowski. Lorenz only plays at first. Scored 3-4 on the out, but sacrifice successful. Barlow now in scoring position with 1 out.
And not a position that Amanda Lorenz is used to playing. She's just really getting used to first base this season, but this bunt was bunted hard, and you heard Amanda Lorenz call it very loudly, being aggressive, making sure that there was no miscommunication between her and Barnhill and that she secured the out.
So here's Aaron Emanuel. Second successful sacrifice tonight from UCF. Emanuel 0 for 1, flew out to Voss in center. You mentioned the success this Knights program has had. And we talked about that 2015 season, had a school record 50 wins, led the nation in ERA, and a ranking as high as 13 that season. They averaged about 36 wins per year under Gillespie. They won 5 conference championships. They bounced around a bit in terms of conferences. They were in the Conference USA from 2006 to 2013, the Atlantic Sun from 02 to 05, joined the American in 2014. And the air towards center. Voss on a back pedal has it for the second out. Staying put is Barlow at second base. Strong throw comes in. Now that'll turn the lineup over for Denali Shoppacker. He's been on base both times tonight against Barnhill. Single to start the game. Mentioned last year the Knights beat the Gators, was the 4th win over Florida in program history. It's their first win over the Gators since 2012. They have 4 wins in this all-time series to 20 losses. Like we said at the top as well, there's always something a little bit extra in these in-state games. Especially if you're UCF, you come to this park, you play in a way that the flagship school of the state, a top 10 team, chance to make a statement.
Kind of like we said too, they played FSU very closely the first game. So this new coaching staff really understanding, what this in-state rivalry is all about. We've talked a lot about, Coach Cindy Ball Malone's resume, but they also have Kendra Leach. She was an All-American at UNC. Tiffany Jordan, she's the junior national coach for Team Canada. Their director of ops is Victoria Hayward, who played at Washington and is a member of Team Canada. So they have a lot of experience out there from a coaching staff.
Meanwhile, UCF tonight 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Bounce sharply back up the middle as Voss fields. The throw towards home is in plenty of time to greet Barlow. As Barlow was aggressive around the bag, now Sydney Ball Malone, a conversation with the third base umpire. And right now, it's still a scoreless game. Bouncer back up the middle, but Voss charging in with the laser toss in plenty of time. Gators still shutting out the UCF Knights 4-0 as we head to the home 5th inning. The Gators coming to the plate will be 8-9-1. Reynoso, Voss, and Lorenz. Talked a lot about this Gator team, shuffling that lineup offensively, and so far over the last 2 games, it seemed to work.
Yeah, I think a big player being called out is Jade Caraway. Being able to have her bat in the lineup, being able to bring that power slap in has changed the dynamic.
Take a look at that last play in the prior half inning as Sydney Ball Malone was arguing with the umpire. I guess the conversation would be Reynoso was in the way of Barlow, the runner, heading towards third.
Yeah, for me, though, I feel like Reynoso's going after this ball. She's trying to reach to get it. She was playing in the 5-6 hole, and as she's looking for the ball, she does make some collision with the runner. And honestly, if that's the case, it should be a dead ball, and the runner's called out. But, it didn't draw too much attention. But, of course, as Cindy Ball Malone's going to do, she wants to try to fight for her players.
Reynoso back up the middle for a base hit. And also a multi-hit night. He's been on base all 3 times to the plate. Outstanding production from 7, 8, and 9 in this Gator order tonight. Between 7, 8, and 9, they've had 3 hits, along with 2 runs driven in. Now that brings in Alex Voss. Adjustment on that prior note, 7-8-9 for Florida, 4 of 6 at the plate, with a walk, a hit by pitch, and 2 RBI.
And that's the type of productivity that Coach Walton has been looking for in that lower part of the lineup. Not just getting big hits, but being able to get on base.
And Alex Voss, one of 3 captains on this Florida team. She's somebody who can be certainly an X factor for this team moving forward. Had a career day in the Bubbly Invitational, 6-game tournament here in Gainesville. Had 6 RBI that day, including her first career home run, first career triple, had 2 triples on that day in a doubleheader. And of course, how the game is, she went on an 0 of 19 stretch at the plate.
Well, when you look at the competition that Florida has played in the last few weeks, they've been playing up against top 10 ranked teams. And, you know, you heard Coach Walton talk about it in the press conference afterwards, that when you're playing against high caliber teams, you need to rise up to the occasion. And he felt like his team hadn't done that. So when you're playing up against, you know, national championship contenders, you need to kind of bring up that extra level of fight. And he didn't really see that. And that's something that they're going to continue to have to face. You know, they're going to go play LSU this weekend. But that's why a game like today against UCF is very important, because this is where you have to kind of work out some kinks, figure out your timing, square some balls up, and from a pitching perspective, try to get some strikeouts to gain that confidence level up.
Gators this year 6-4 against ranked opponents. Voss grounds this through the left side for a hit. Reynoso station to station, 2 on and nobody out. And now they'll call Voss out. Maybe they'll say she was out of the box, but Voss has been ruled out.
We can take a look at it right here. She's slapping through the box. It looks like her back foot, her left foot, stepped over the line, almost to home plate. Have another look here would be a better view. You need to try to keep your feet in the batter's box. Even a sliver of a toenail, the umpire will call you out. So right there is why she was called out, being well over that line.
So here's Lorenz. That was a rule that had changed last year. It used to be, right, Francesco, a whole foot out of the box. Now it's just a toenail out of the box.
And it's been a hard adjustment for a lot of these lefty slappers, because, you know, you think it's easy just to not have your foot come over, but it's all about timing. It's all about rhythm. And it had a lot of lefty slappers suffer from that rule. Even a team Tennessee last year, they had to not start a couple of their slappers because they were affected by the rules so significantly.
Here's Lorenz. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Bounces this foul. Lorenz comes in, the SEC leader in hits. As we take a look at the wording of the rule, cannot have any part of the foot touching the ground outside the lines at the moment the ball touches the bat. And that was revised last year.
Very wordy way of putting it.
That's usually how the rule books are, right?
Just reading that rule, I was like, what?
Yanked towards second base. There's one, turn to first. The throw got away. As now Lorenz heading towards second base, all the way towards third, no relay, and she's in. Jessica not really sure what happened on that relay throw towards first.
Well, it looked like when the shortstop Aubrey Johnson was going to throw this ball to second, it ricochets off of Reynoso. So you see her go with her transfer. Oh no, she just spiked the ball. She did not have a good release. It looked like she didn't want to make the throw because she saw Lorenz was already going to be safe at first base. So an errant throw, and the heads-up base running by Lorenz gets her on third.
Yeah, just spiked the softball in that moment, so now Lorenz will get 2 extra bases. Reynoso was ruled out. Be an E6. So now after a quick meeting, so every once in a while you have those types of throws, I guess, as an infielder.
Well, it's tough as you're thinking to change it. So your momentum's coming in, and then she notices that Lorenz is easily safe, so she kind of stops her throwing motion, but it's way too late, and the ball slips out.
Also, Reynoso on a hard slide into second off the bag may have kind of hurt the thought process of Johnson throwing that to first, but that was, again, that throw was just spiked.
Yeah, but if you're UCF, you got to move on from it. You can't let the error, that mental error, get in the way and then have a run score. You have 2 outs right now. Attack the batter.
Lindemann powers this towards center field, all the way back towards the wall, leaping up, and that is caught. Oh, what a play by Klarkowski up against the wall in center field. Took away a home run, and that ends the inning. An absolute web gem by Kira Klarkowski. Took away a Lindemann home run. My goodness.
You talk about big-time plays. That is a big-time play from Kira Klarkowski right there. The moment off the bat, you're thinking this is a no-doubter, clear home run. You're just waiting for the home run trot. Absolutely crushed by Kendall Lindemann. I mean, dead center field, but center fielder Kira Klarkowski going up and bringing this ball back. You can see it. She is fired up. She knows how big time that play is. Being able to find the wall and jump in perfect timing.
What extension by Kira Klarkowski to end the inning. Wow.
That's beautiful.
You will see that on SportsCenter tonight. An incredible catch. And the celebration ensues for UCF. I mean, that is a catch that she will remember for the rest of her life. Inside this ballpark against this team, taking away a Lindemann home run.
Yeah, that's a career highlight for sure. That would be a clear career highlight for anybody, being able to rob a home run like that. You could see the excitement her entire teammates are giving her for that. That's awesome.
Kira Klarkowski with an outstanding grab. One of 2 captains on this UCF team making an incredible catch. And maybe for UCF, that's the moment that they use to kind of spark the offense right now, as they've been held off the score sheet. 4 hits against Kelly Barnhill.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to try to use that momentum coming back. But, even if, I'm Kendall Lindemann, I'm looking at Klarkowski and tipping my cap to her. That's just one heck of a catch.
For Lindemann, would have been her 4th home run of the year, and a home run in back-to-back games. But instead now it's back to Kelly Barnhill inside the circle. And a catch that nobody inside this ballpark will forget. And you'll see it a ton tonight. Incredible. Here's Tamisha Glover, 2, 3, and 4 due to the plate for the Knights in a 4-0 game. And it was the face that Klarkowski made right away where she turned and said, "Yeah, I just did that." And then the celebration ensued.
Then they got the football touchdown jump thing happening. Now, we've been seeing a lot of outfielders recently rob some home runs. Just the other night, I believe it was on the SEC network, Ole Miss, Arkansas player robbed a home run, Ole Miss of a home run. Our own Jade Caraway, she did the same thing.
Robbed a home run against Oregon earlier this year. Here's Klarkowski, must be on cloud 9 right now in that dugout.
Just has a little smile, a sly
Just
smile,
a little smile.
yeah.
You got to smile. Plummer just got a piece. Meanwhile, for the Gators, a defensive change. Hannah Sipos now in at third base. Saw today that Jordan Matthews saw her first collegiate start at third. Sipos, an outstanding defender in her freshman year, has been struggling at the plate a little bit. And again tonight for UCF, not the high volume of swings and misses maybe you're used to for Kelly in a midweek game in this type of environment.
Well, a lot of veterans, too, from this UCF offense. So they've faced Kelly before. You know what you're going to see with her. And so just being able to chip away, being able to get hits with their lefty slappers and shorten up has been huge for them. But again, trying to get extended on her can be tough because you got to get her timing perfectly. You got to take advantage of a mistake.
It's now 2-2.
It just seems like UCF has come against Barnhill with a lot of confidence, not getting down on themselves when they strike out, but always figuring out ways how to get on base and how to attack.
8th pitch of the at-bat is flown out towards left. Sampson a good jump. Will haul it in. So after that 8-pitch AB, Kelly wins the battle. One gone here in the 6th. Brings in Cassidy Brewer, who's 0 for 2. Brewer, one of the seniors on this roster, having to undergo that coaching change in her final year. That can't be easy for a collegiate athlete. Your final year having to undergo that coaching switch. But she's embraced it.
Well, you know, at first, anytime you have a coaching change, obviously you get nervous. You don't know what the transition's going to be like. You know, are they going to want to play me? Are they going to want to start me? You know, what's their vibe going to be like? But when this new coaching staff came on board, the athletes really embraced the new philosophy and embraced the culture, and that was huge for them. Because if you don't buy into what the coach is putting out there, then you can't succeed as a program.
The first thing that Sydney Ball Malone had done was just create those relationships before worrying about anything on the field. Relationships were paramount for the first-year head coach.
And then once you're able to establish that and, you know, you start creating that culture within, you know, what UCF is going to be, then you can really start breaking down talent. Then you can make those physical adjustments.
Mentioned earlier, Brewer comes in first in the American in doubles, 16th nationally. A team that's hit 38 two-baggers this year. Another really good at-bat from UCF here in this spot.
They just continue to battle off of Barnhill. Not really surprised by too many of her pitchers. I mean, even Cassidy Brewer laying off the pitch before that, that was Barnhill's low rise. That's one of the toughest pitches to lay off of because it's very deceptive. It looks like you want to swing at it.
Count now full. Barnhill now creeping towards 100 pitches at 95 on the night. Looking for a 6th strikeout. Flown towards shallow left center. Long run for Voss, 2 outs. A couple of long ABs and a couple of flyouts for the Knights here in this 6th inning. Kelly trying to generate her second 1-2-3 inning. It's up to Jasmine Esparza. Knights coming up. We'll have a doubleheader this weekend at Stetson. There's Esparza. Flies that left side of the infield. It's Reynoso with the grab, and that ends the inning. Second 1-2-3 of the night for the senior Kelly Barnhill. Knights go down quietly mid-6 in Gainesville, Florida by 4. Young fan at the ballpark tonight. Excited about this bottom of the 6th inning. Francesca, we've had a cuteness overload today. Saw Maggie the dog earlier. Young fan.
I just want to tickle his feet. He looks like he's just chilling.
Yeah, enjoying the game from those left field seats that are new to the renovation at the ballpark this year. You can look through that chain link fencing over that left field fence. Here's Danielle Romanello. Gators a 4-0 lead. Another young fan.
Babies are everywhere here, huh?
Yeah.
It's a kid-friendly park.
You have the standing room seating that are beyond the right field fence that extends all the way to center. Trying to climb the chairback seating here.
Well, that's always a fun thing to do as a kid. Like, how much momentum is that seat going to throw you forward? Maybe I should just sit on my mom's lap.
Maybe some future Gators in that group in the crowd. Romanello cranks this towards right center field and into the Gainesville night. Romanello, a solo shot, her 3rd home run of the year, and the Gators lead 5-0.
It's the type of hit that Danielle Romanella needed, try to break out of her own slump. It's been swinging and missing a lot, but not on this pitch. Just able to get her timing on this home run and absolutely drives it to right center field. This is a pitch that's down the middle, and as a freshman, you'll learn fast that you cannot miss over the sweet part of the plate, and Romanella makes Vasquez pay for it.
So 3rd home run of the year for Danielle Romanello. Seems like she's starting to turn it around a little bit offensively, and that's a really good sign for this Florida team.
You know, we talk about it all the time that sometimes it doesn't have to be a big hit to bust out of a slump. And Romanello against Tennessee on Sunday got a little excuse me swing single, was able to kind of turn on a changeup and get another hit. So just some easy 2 singles in that game alone allows her to bust out of that slump with that big bomb.
For Romanello, it was her first home run since February 10th in that opening tournament at the University of South Florida. Actually came against the Bulls of South Florida. And 2 of her now 3 home runs in the first 5 games of the year.
She's just an athlete that has so much power in the box. She probably has the most power on this offense, but trying to get the right rhythm and the right timing off the pitchers is always her issue.
Now here's Jordan Roberts, who's hit 3 home runs as well this season. (3-1) misses low. That's ball 4 to Roberts. Again, an outstanding night for a ball game. Again, maybe some future Gators in this mix. You see players like Francesca.
Hot hands. That's how you play
exactly.
that. Yeah. You don't even know. You don't even know what that game is, do you, Kyle?
I don't.
I can tell. Kyle doesn't like to play fun games.
I don't. I
Everybody out there
played Monopoly once.
I mean, come on.
Just takes too long. Monopoly.
You need to start playing some more, children type games.
Adams sends this to left. There's one away. So any suggestions to the games that I should play? Or
Yeah, I mean, hot hands being one of them. Thumb war, that's a big one.
I did do thumb war as a kid.
I mean, rock paper, scissors.
Now
yeah.
that's a classic.
Do you go rock, paper, scissors or rock, paper, scissors, shoot? It's a big issue.
You got to throw in the shoot, of course. As Jamie Hoover comes in to pinch hit in this moment. They're really deep into that game right now.
I couldn't play that game. It looks like there's a lot of math.
There's a lot of math involved. That makes two of us. So here's Jamie Hoover. Bats with one out. Already one in on the Romanello home run. Hoover, somebody for this Gator lineup that Coach Walton hopes can really burst out of the slump she's in right now. 2 of her last 16. That's 125. Was 1 for 4 in that Tennessee series. Appeal down to first. They'll say Hoover did not go around. Started the first game in that series, and the final 2 came off the bench and pinch hit opportunities. So has the average at 328. We've seen that a lot from Hoover in her career, swinging out of her shoes. That was a heavy cut.
And when you ask Hoover, maybe try to shorten it. Don't try to swing the bat so big. She thinks that she's not. She feels that she's in control, and that's how a lot of power hitters are. They look out of control, but they're in control. You can already notice one adjustment Hoover has made in her stanzas. She's always liked to kind of start closed off with her front leg, closed off behind her back leg. But now, because she's been struggling, kind of opening her stance a little more to stay linear, try to not pull off the ball as much.
Hoover draws a walk. Back-to-back free passes offered up by Vasquez. 2 on and 1 out. Now that brings in Jade Caraway, and also brings in the possible run rule ending run in a 5-0 game. How about Caraway's night? And an RBI single. Has really hit it hard. And the story for UCF has been inside the circle. They've offered up 7 walks to only 2 strikeouts between Aaliyah White and Brianna Vasquez. White lasted only 2 1/3 in her start. Caraway, jam ground ball towards first. Esparza steps on the bag. Runners move up. Now 2 on and 2 out for Sofia Reynoso.
It's always tough as a lefty slapper turning on that inside pitch when it's coming at you. I think that's a pitch that Caraway probably should have let go by. It was going to be a ball if she didn't swing.
There's Reynoso, multi-hit night. She's reached base all 3 plate appearances. Also, if you're looking ahead for UCF, will be 5, 6, and 7 due up their last opportunity in the top of the 7th, if they do in fact get one more opportunity. was certainly a great experience for the freshman Brianna Vasquez on this stage, in this park against this lineup. There's a lot to learn from an appearance like this. Reynoso goes opposite field towards right. It's caught by a shot packer, and that ends the inning. So the Gators leave 2 on the other side. UCF last chance with the bats. Trail 5-0. Last chance for UCF. And more young fans at the ballpark tonight. To see their Gators come away with what will be their 23rd win of the year. We're heading back into SEC play with 7th-ranked LSU, rather 8th-ranked LSU coming up this weekend. Meanwhile, for the Gators, a defensive change. Jamie Hoover now in right. Be 5, 6, and 7. Last hope for the Knights as Barnhill looks to go the distance. There's Carissa Ornelas. For Barnhill would be her 7th complete game of the year. And this her 14th start. And the ERA as well will go down a touch after tonight. Right now at 1-2-0.
I don't think that very many people were expecting the score to be what it was when they played against Tennessee, with giving up all those home runs and giving up all those runs. But it could be a time for Florida to kind of use that as a learning experience and bounce back from it.
And Coach Walton said yesterday in his media availability, games 1 and 2, this just wasn't a fun brand of softball to watch from this Gator team. They couldn't get hits. They could not get situational hits. And for them, they hope they broke out of it on Sunday. Certainly, in a way, broke out of it today, but a lot of free passes offered up from this UCF pitching staff.
And those are the things that you have to take advantage of when you're not getting the hits, when you're not seeing the ball very well, but you are getting on base. It only takes one hit to kind of break things open, and that was what the Gators have been missing, is they were getting on base, but just unable to capitalize when they were.
Also seeing the power start to come back for this Florida team. Saw Romanello homer tonight, and also Lindemann was robbed of a home run in the 5th inning by Kira Klarkowski. Will be a SportsCenter top 10 play. Barnhill north of 100 pitches. This is 104. Line drive, right center, down for a hit. UCF's 5th of the night.
Ornelas is a hitter that kind of likes to step out to try to get her hands clear, and this was a missed pitch from Barnhill, kind of leaves it on the upper part of the zone, and Ornelas just needs to get her hands at the same level of it and maybe to pepper that single.
Kendall Lange comes to pinch run at first. So nothing really hit hard off of Kelly tonight. We've seen usually when balls have been put into play against Barnhill, they've gone a long way because of the sheer velocity, but it's been all base hits tonight for UCF.
You know, I'm going to argue against you, though, because
Okay.
I feel like there were 3 singles that were hit pretty hard. Obviously not home runs, but still hard enough to get out of the infield in a hurry. That was a hard hit by Ornelas. Klarkowski hit a hard one earlier. Aubrey Johnson hit a hard one. But just little singles, to your point. How about that?
I embrace debate. I'm all about it. Aubrey Johnson down to the count, 0-2.
I've always been a half-full kind of a girl, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're kind of the opposite. Yeah.
The complete opposite. Barnhill 5 strikeouts tonight. Aubrey Johnson has struck out once, was that last strikeout victim of Kelly in the 4th. One of 2 1-2-3 innings for Barnhill. Johnson down on strikes for the 2nd time. 6K for Kelly. And there's one gone.
But what makes Kelly so good is how she's able to adjust to hitters that do get hits off of her. And this is just with her screwball that runs in so hard and tight on the hands. Not very many batters can get their hands extended, and Kelly easily gets the strikeout.
Here's Brooke Barlow. Barlow has one of the 5 UCF hits, singled in the 5th. Been on base both times tonight, singled and walked. This one's fouled away. Kelly tonight looking for win number 14. Came in second nationally in wins. Came in with the most strikeouts in the country. Leads the SEC in strikeouts per 7 innings, including hits per 7. Creeping closer to 1,000 career strikeouts. Has 977. Make it 978 for Kelly. Came in with 972. Just off the plate. Count full. Late in this game, a 5-run game, UCF, they're not giving up any at-bats. They're still grinding at the plate.
They just seem to know their zone so well off of Barnhill. Barlow, that pitch before, not swinging and missing at that screwball. Like we said, that's the same pitch that Johnson swung and missed off of. It's a hard pitch to lay off of, but made Kelly make an adjustment by bringing it back in, and then what does she do? She fouls it off.
Career strikeout 979 for Kelly Barnhill. It's her 7th of the night, and the Knights are down to their final out. And it's ironic, last hope for the Knights, Kira Klarkowski, who made one of the better catches you'll see all year in center field. One of 2 captains on this team.
Klarkowski just missed that pitch. Anytime you see that hard foul ball straight back, you know that you just missed squaring that pitch up.
If the result stands, Aaliyah White would take the loss. For White would be her 6th losing decision of the year. Only lasted 2 1/3. Knights down to their final strike. Crowd rises to their feet. Count full.
That's a close pitch to take if you're Klarkowski.
In her 3rd strike, career strikeout 980 for Kelly Barnhill. seals the Gator victory as they blank UCF 5-0. So for the Gators, they broke out offensively with a 3-run third inning, and Florida with the win improves to 23-4.
I really love how the Gators came out to play tonight. They knew this was going to be a tough matchup, especially because they lost to UCF just last year facing the same pitcher in Aaliyah White, but they responded by being able to get on base